Kaiser Khan back here with you for some more Global War 1936, Operation Lone Ranger. And we're doing turn 10 for the KMT and the United States. So, of course, we get to skip right over the KMT because they have surrendered. So, let's start with some technology for the USA. We have completed 2 techs, improve factories and improve construction. So, we're just going to go... We have 7 total that we can do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we do need to put one more on the board. We got to figure out which one we want to go with. Large ship construction would be good. Or do we want to do airborne doctrine? Kind of feeling airborne doctrine. Yeah. Let's go for airborne. All right, so we have radar at a 7. We have airborne at a 7. Or not, yeah, airborne and amphib at a 7. We have jet fighters at an 8. Long-range aircraft at an 8. Heavy strategic bombers at a 9, along with strategic rockets also at a 9, which of course we will roll later. Okay. Let's see what we get. Not a whole lot. Looks like we only got 2 techs. We only got 1. We got radar. Wow. One out of 6. Well, we complete radar, so that's good. Let's see if we can hit on... salvage this terrible tech turn and hit on strategic rockets. Yeah, we do. We hit strategic rockets. So that we move that up to stage number 3. Okay. All in all, pretty bad, but we'll take the 2. Okay, let's get into some purchases. Of course, we're going to complete this fleet carrier here, and it's going to go in the Pacific. So I think that's going to cost, let's see here. It's going to cost 5. I can never remember, especially with these units that are broken up into stages. I can never remember what their costs are. So we complete the fleet carrier for 5. And we've already got some planes waiting in the wings over there, so to speak. Let's see. What else do we want to do? We might want to even start another fleet carrier. Do we have improved construction? Oh, we do. Yeah, let's start another fleet carrier. So with improved construction, we can combine 2 stages into 1. So in this case, it would cost us 10, and the carrier would get to start at stage 2. Or we can just continue to build it in, 3 stages, and the cost would be reduced by 1 IPP. So it would cost us 4 instead of 5. And that reminds me, we paid 5 for that fleet carrier, and it only is going to cost us 4 because we do have improved construction. So let's take care of that. But I think we want to spend 10, and we want to start it on stage 2 and get it out ASAP because we know that war is looming. Probably as soon as next turn. All right, so stage 2. And of course, we're going to want some planes to complement the carrier. We do already have a tactical over there, so let's build another fighter. That's going to cost us another 10. We don't want to go too crazy on the spending because... let me get out a Navy fighter here. I believe this is a Wildcat sculpt It's hard to tell and differentiate from the Hellcat, but the way you can tell is if it has, if you can focus there, if it has the landing gear there on the bottom of the fuselage, that's how you can differentiate it between a Hellcat and a Wildcat. And I thought I was going to, when I first got these sculpts, both the Wildcat and the Hellcat, I was looking at them like, man, how do you differentiate these things? And I finally noticed that, yeah, it's the landing gear at the bottom. The wheels on a Wildcat go up into the fuselage and are visible, whereas in the Hellcat, they're not. And it was funny because my wife, who doesn't know anything about World War II planes or anything like that, I showed them to her and I asked her, I was like, hey, how do you differentiate between these two? And I mean, she's very observant and she noticed right away. She was like, oh, it's the landing gear. I was like, wow. It's like, you're a smart woman. All right. So we will get that. And let's see. Let's replace the P-38 sculpt with an actual naval fighter. Now this is the Hellcat sculpt here. You can tell that on the bottom of the front of the fuselage, there's no visible landing gear. There's no wheel, rather. So this is the Hellcat, and we'll place it, we will replace it with, since that's going to be going on the carrier. Okay. Let's see. What else do we want to purchase? We're going to need some planes for this carrier over here that's inevitably going to make its way to the Pacific. We're also, do we go with the strategic bombing strategy? Do we get a strategic bomber? Oh, Germany is pretty well defended, especially with those jet fighters. It's going to make it very difficult. And until we get long-range aircraft, which we're only at stage 1, until we get long-range aircraft where we can send escorts over, it's going to be very difficult. It's going to be very difficult to do strategic bombing. So maybe we hold off for now. Spend our money on other things. Oh, we forgot to do our income increase. Oh, we can't forget that. So we are at 38 right now. Let's go ahead and roll and see what we get. Plus 8. Okay, it's pretty middle of the road there. So that puts us up to 46, just ahead of the Russians. Yeah, I just don't think we do the strategic bombing thing quite yet. We really need to finish long-range aircraft. And, I mean, heavy strategic bombers would be nice, too, but we're only one away from getting that tech. And then we can start rolling out the B-29s. Maybe we just accumulate more ships. We could use some light cruisers. They're good against aircraft. Yeah, let's purchase 2 light cruisers. I think they all get completed in one stage. Oh, no, they don't. They get completed in 2 stages. So that's going to cost us to get 2 light cruisers. Let's finish them all in one stage. And so that will be 16 for that. And I think that's all the spending we're going to do for this turn. And these light cruisers, they're going to go in the Pacific. Alrighty. I definitely would like to build some militia to reinforce some of our islands and also reinforce Alaska. Although you'll notice that, and I'll explain this a little bit later. Well, I guess I can explain it now. So one thing about this map that's different about the Axis and Allies Global 1940 map that you may have noticed is the distance comparison between Attu and Kiska, or the Aleutians, and Midway. So, and this is kind of one thing about this map that I wish would be changed, because the distance here between these two islands in comparison to Japan is actually the same. It's 10 spaces. But in real life, Attu and Kiska is closer distance-wise than Midway. Midway is an island out in the middle of absolute nowhere. All right? And in Axis and Allies, it's the same distance. It's 10 spaces to get to Japan. But Attu and Kiska, or the Aleutian Islands, is actually only 8 spaces in Axis and Allies. Whereas here, it's 10. It's the same as Midway. Now, this has immense strategic importance, right? Or implications, because if you only have a range of 8, this allows the United States to build strategic bombers. If you've got long-range aircraft, especially, and you build an airfield here, you can bomb Japan with impunity at that distance. But since it's 10, it completely removes this as a strategic. I mean, it almost renders this entire area of the map strategically just unimportant. Okay? So, and that's why you'll see a lot of players not even utilize Alaska, because what's the point? You know, a range of 10, even with long-range aircraft and strategic bombers, you still can't get to Japan to bomb their factories. Unless if maybe they have, well, even if they have a factory in Hokkaido, you still can't reach it. Right? So in real life, the distance from Attu and Kiska to, say, Tokyo is like 2,000 miles, which is nothing for a B-29 bomber fully loaded. Right? A B-29 bomber could make that trek easily, fully loaded. So I kind of wish that they would change it a little bit, either change the rule for the range of heavy strategic bombers coupled with long-range aircraft, because, I mean, as it stands right now, it's only 9. A range of 9, or change the map to where it doesn't require as many spaces to move to get to Japan from Attu and Kiska. This would open up an entire new strategic theater, if you will, right? Which is, in real history, was a real thing, right? I mean, Japan, a lot of people forget about this, but Japan actually conquered Attu and Kiska in real life. And they held on to it for the rest of the war, despite the fact that the Americans threw 33% of their resources in the Pacific in an attempt to trying retaking it, and failed to. So, and even Colonel Billy Mitchell, before war broke out with Japan, was quoted as saying that in the event of a war with Japan, the most strategic point in the Pacific is the Aleutian Islands. So, obviously, the American High Command realized the strategic importance of the Aleutians. And I just feel like in this game, it's just meaningless, right? Mostly because of the distance, the number of spaces it is to Tokyo. So, I don't know, just a little pet peeve of mine with this map. I think Global 1940 Axis and Allies got it right on their map, and having the distance being closer for the Aleutians compared to Midway. So, Midway Island to Tokyo is about 2,500 miles. I work for FedEx in their flight department, and we have flights going from Memphis all the way up to Anchorage. And they always take, the Great Circle route that goes up by the Aleutians, by Anchorage and the Aleutians, and down to Narita, because that's the shortest way to go. You wouldn't go this way straight across. That's insane, right? Because of the curvature of the Earth. So, that's just kind of a little pet peeve of mine, that I don't know why the distance is the same from Attu and Kiska to Japan and from Midway to Japan. That's not very realistic. So again, it has major strategic implications, especially if the Americans are going to implement strategic bombing. And that's why in real life, the Japanese took over Attu and Kiska, is to prevent the Americans from being able to just strategic bomb Japan with impunity. And it forced the United States, of course, to go the long way around, going on all these island hopping campaigns, launching all these D-Day style invasions in the Pacific, which cost countless American lives. And then, and once they got over to the Mariana Islands, and of course Iwo then they were able to launch some strategic bombing campaigns on Tokyo, or on Japan in general. So I don't know. I just think it would be cooler to kind of see this area of the map utilized more. So I think we're going to play with a house rule where once we get heavy strategic bombers coupled with long-range aircraft, then for our heavy strategic bombers, the range will be 10 instead of 9. That way we can implement the strategy of being able to, but we have to build an airfield, right? We have to build an airfield. And I guess that would also allow us to launch strategic bombing attacks from Midway, which, either way, I think we'll make a house rule where the bombing campaigns can only be conducted from Attu and Kiska, as long as there's an airfield there. Of course, there has to be an airfield. So we'll play with that, and it'll make Alaska feel like it's of value, right? Rather than most players just going through an entire game and nobody even bothers with Alaska, So we'll play with that house rule there. Okay, so now that I've explained that, we're not going to purchase anything else. We don't have any combat moves. Let's see, what else do we want to do? Let's move this heavy cruiser here over to P-29. And then these two ships here will come up 1-2 into P-29. And along with this destroyer, we'll put these planes out in P-25 so that the carrier can pick them up when we place it. And then these two coastal subs will come over 1 into P-23. Let's go over to the Atlantic side and see what we got going on over there. I don't think there's a whole lot. We still got our ships on escort duty within the rule, which states that they can only be 3 sea zones out from the American coast. I think we are good to go. Yeah, we'll just keep these coastal subs here. They're fine. All right, let's go and place some units, and then we will call it a turn. So this carrier will go off San Francisco and pick up these carrier-based planes. These 2 light cruisers will also be deployed off San Francisco. And this naval fighter will go into San Francisco as well. We have improved factory. Oh yeah, we have improved factories, so we can place like 8 units there. All right. So that will be it for the United States. I don't think we have any recruitment roles. I don't think we're missing anything. If I am, I can correct it in the next video. All right, so we collect 46, and that will be it for us. 46. Let's see, that will give us, how much is that? 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. That gives us about 90 to spend for next turn. All right, that'll do it for the USA. Next video, that'll do it for the USA and for turn 10. Next video, we will start turn 11 for Nationalist Spain and Germany. As always, thanks so much for watching. I hope you take care, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.